Mark Henry back on the On Your Mark Show on 105.4 RPWP, the PulseRadio.com, powered and sponsored by Epic Sports Apparel. Today's guest is one of the great coaches in the DFW area. He is from Newman International, Cedar Hill. It's called NICH for short. Been following this guy for a couple of years, LJ Miller. He's also one of the coaches for New Breed 707. These guys took care of business, and they have an invitation to the national championship going on in Tampa, Florida, May 8th and 9th from Championship 7v7 to TruXposur. Had a chance to talk with him shortly, and now we got him on the show. Come on in, Coach Miller. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man? I'm doing good. Glad to have this opportunity.
Yes, sir. Glad you're joining us here on the On Your Mark Show. Now, let's start about you just a little bit. When I talk to coaches, I usually like to get a little background on them before we get into where they are now. Where'd you play your ball, high school, college? Share that with us real quick.
All right, so I'm here. I'm a local guy. I've been here in Dallas my whole life. Played high school football at Desoto High School. Got an opportunity to play a little college. Didn't play a little college. I made it through summer. I had a couple of injuries. Decided to go ahead and join the military. So I did the military. Did the Army for a few years, and then I got back. And once I got back, I just kind of went to the real world. Started doing some youth coaching and all that stuff, and then it kind of led into doing high school coaching. So that's the short version.
Well, that sounds great. Now, let's dive into Newman International, NICH for short. Everybody knows about NICH. I've had a chance to follow you and Nick's story here the last couple of years. Talk about you guys just a little bit. You've had some success there since you've been at the helm. Got a state championship under your belt. Tell us a little bit about NICH.
So NICH is it's a nice little school. I call it a little school in the woods sometimes because when I first heard about it, that's what I thought. We're over where, I don't know if people know Cedar Hill area, but it used to be Northwood College. So the school bought that lot or that whole campus and turned it into our high school elementary campus. So I call it a little school in the woods because that's kind of how people notice it. It's a good little school, man. It's a small school. We got about 300 kids in high school. I kind of like it. It's kind of an intimate thing. I know every student in the school. As far as a football program, man, it's a pretty cool thing. Our athletic department in general we do pretty well. We compete pretty good in all sports with wrestling and basketball and football and track. We just did track, had a couple state tournaments winners there and all that stuff. But as far as football, we started. I actually started the varsity program 4 seasons ago, and I always expected us to be good at some point because of just the rich athletic nature of this area with Cedar Hill and DeSoto, Duncanville. It's bound to happen. And it happened a lot faster than I thought. The first year we were kind of everybody's homecoming game. I mean, we were getting beat up, man. And then the second year, we got in a few new kids. Some of our kids grew up that I had, and we did all right. And then that next year we just kind of caught fire, man. And we were, I always call us the Dragon Slayers. We want to play some of the bigger schools and not the 6A schools, but we want to play some of the bigger schools and make a mark for ourselves. And one thing led to another, and next thing you know, we won a state championship. And it was good for us. It was good for our program. It was good for our school, and we're just trying to grow on that here in the next couple of years.
Now, what does that bring to a school, a small school? You guys have just started now. You talk about the rough years, and you reach the threshold of a state championship. How does that elevate your program from within?
It does well, man. I mean, the thing about it, and I tell everybody this, there are probably around 1,600 football programs in Texas, maybe even a little more. Out of that 1,600, there's I think there's about 38 opportunities, or maybe a little more, around 40 opportunities to win a state championship. That's including UIL and TAPS and TCAF and TCAL and all the other, sanctioned leagues. So you got 40 opportunities out of 1,600 schools to win a state championship. So for us, that was special to be one of those 40 schools in that year to get to that point. And what it does for the program, it's something that, it teaches the kids that, if you work hard, you do the right thing, good things happen, and so it was just kind of it was a good thing for us. It's the goal as far as on the football field, it's our goal, but as a person, as a man, that's not our goal. It's just a reminder for us is that you do the right things, good things happen. So it works for a program. Our basketball teams won 2 state championships. Our softball team right now is in the running. We're in the semifinals for a state championship. We have wrestling that has been national qualifiers, and so we had some track. So it helps us for as a program because it's our kids see that you can come here, you can play, you can win, you can have fun, and then everything else just kind of falls in place.
Well, that leads right into my next question. You're in a heavy bed for talent in any sport with Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto, Lancaster, all within a 10-mile radius. How do you get the kids' attention to say, hey, you can get it here in Newman as well, and we can help you guys get to the next level because you have done that within your program?
Yeah. So for me, I'm a total athlete type person. I'm about the experience. I'm about the education. I'm about the opportunity. So when you approach me about sports, I mean, I do love sports. Football saved my life, so I'm about sports, but I also think about the opportunities. For a lot of kids, you got 6 to 8 years to play football and then you're done. I mean, that's even, if you get lucky and you go to college and you play 4 years, you got 8 years. If you get luckier and you get to NFL, you may have another couple of years. And if you're Tom Brady lucky, you got 20 years, but even him, he's going to be done at 40, 42. So I look at it as the experience. You can come here, you can play all the sports you want to play because we're such a small school. You don't have to just play football, just play basketball. You're going to get on the field, right away. You're going to enjoy your time. You're going to have fun. You're going to have opportunity to win a state championship. And you're also going to have the same opportunities for colleges and all that other stuff because, we keep our grades high here. I got my personal team. We got 3.2 GPA goal. And so I'm on your case. I check grades every 2 weeks. And I try not to get too far away from it. So if you do the right things and you follow the program as we have it set up, by the time you're a senior, you'll have an opportunity to be in college. Now, would that opportunity be on a football scholarship, academic scholarship? That's kind of up in the air, but you're going to have an opportunity to play. And so far, every senior that I've had in our program had an opportunity to go to college with some of it paid for, or all of it paid for. So that's the option we have. It's just the quality of life. You don't, and I was that guy, and I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but, some of these bigger schools you go to, you put in that same work and you're going through that same stuff, not to even play, and here you put in that same work and you get an opportunity. But, nothing against those programs because those programs are dear to my heart. I'm a DeSoto guy. And if I ain't at a NICH game, I'm at the DeSoto game on our bye weeks. So, I mean, I love these schools and these kids no matter where they go, but that's what makes us different as a program. We have a lot of opportunity for kids. So it's kind of inviting for a kid to know that they can come here and have an opportunity to get on the field right away.
Most definitely. And that's the thing is everything you do is repetition. The only way you're going to get better at things is to do it at a high level over and over and over. And kids these days need to understand that if they can get on the field, that's the only way you're going to get that exposure. And before we switch gears again, this is LJ Miller from Newman International in Cedar Hill. Let's talk about some of the guys on the field. You got a pretty good quarterback that I've had a chance to connect with a little bit, see some of his film and the things he's been doing this spring over at Newman. Talk about him and some of the other young men over there.
Okay, so you talking about Rico? He's been doing real well, man. He was another one of those kids just needed an opportunity. He was at a school and he was a freshman B team quarterback, and he knows somebody. I don't know exactly how he got there. I'm gonna be honest with you, but he's a friend of a friend of a friend. Heard about us, decided that he wanted to come over, and he came over and he got the opportunity. And we just try to develop him the best we can. With him, his work ethic is there. It's just he's got to mature. You just got to throw the ball. You got to get hit. You got to break tackles. You got to play the game. And so I can already see just from last season through the 7-on-7 with I think he's with Dallas Drip with 7-on-7 and all the training he's doing. I'm really excited to see what he's going to look like in the fall. We got a ton of other players. I mean, we got Tatum Gray. he's not in the 7-on-7 circuit, but he's going to be an athlete I promise you're going to hear about. He's a young kid, sophomore. We got Kobe. Kobe Gray is his brother. He's a linebacker. He's almost prototypical linebacker, strong safety. I mean, he's a hybrid type kid. Good size, good speed, good strength. Man, I can go through it. Our team is so young. I mean, we're gonna have 2 seniors next year, if everything stays the same, and then we have a bunch of freshmen, sophomores moving up. So there should be more and more names you hear about. I don't want to waste all your time with saying every kid, but I think, between Tatum and Rico and Wendell, and man, we got so many kids. Jacob, we got a D lineman. We got Miles, who's a baseball guy, but he plays good football too. It's a ton of kids. I've had to spend all your time naming them, but we got some good kids coming through.
Most definitely, and that's why we do this on the On Your Mark show. We like to get some exposure, get to know some of the guys that are not just on the radar. We talk to 5 stars, but we talk to the guy that has no stars. Not really big into rankings. Show me, improve me, and show me on the field, and that's usually how we get around to it. Now let's switch gears a little bit. A couple weeks ago here in the DFW Southwest Regional TruXposur Championship 7v7 tournament, 18U, New Breed shook up everything. You guys had a great tournament. I was there to witness that as well. You guys had a couple of guys that stuck out to me. We'll definitely get to those guys, but tell me a little bit about New Breed, because it was under another name before, but now you ushering in this thing and you're changing the narrative with the New Breed. So shed some light on that before we start talking individuals.
So New Breed was the Gamecocks, and Sean Elwood, that's my dog. I met him years ago. We actually played against him when I coached the youth team, and we just clicked, man. We just we exchanged information, and within a week we were cool. We started a youth league together. We traveled together. We played golf together. That's my dog. And so he was doing the Gamecocks. I was coaching with Team Grind a little bit, and then I help out with anybody else. I really was going to take this year off and not do anything, but he called me. He said, "Man, I got 40-something kids out here. I don't know what to do. I need some help." So I told him I would help out. He also has he also is fortunate enough, his son's in that age group where his son's trying to get recruited. So that's kind of how a lot of that stuff happens. He want to have more time to take pictures and promote his kids and promote his son and promote his other players. So he asked me to help out. I think they won three tournaments already this year. That's actually our JV squad. That's the kids. All those kids are freshmen, sophomores. I think we got 2 kids with offers right now on that team. And the rest of them are just, they just work hard. They go after it. And they just play and they just have fun. And that tournament was kind of one of those things. Sean had to do something with his older son, so camp-wise, so that he asked me to call the offense. And the first day, it was just kind of getting through it, learning to trust each other, learning to feel, how to feel for each other. And then the next day, it all just woke up, man. It was, they made me look good. They made me look like I knew what I was doing. and they did all the work and made all the adjustments. And I just kind of sat back and orchestrated. And, when you got a kid like DJ and all those, he's so intelligent as far as his football IQ, just the natural stuff, not the stuff they teach on chalkboard and all that stuff, but just sitting back and saying, okay, I can recognize they're in cover 2. I can recognize this kid can't open his hips the right way. I can recognize he's doing this while he's sitting there for 4 seconds. The next play, he's saying he can't open his hips. I'm gonna throw this ball. So that made it so easy. And I'm not saying the competition was just as a coach and game management, it made it very easy. And that was one of those games, one of those days with tournaments where everything was working, and it felt a lot easier for me. I wasn't playing, but it just felt good. And I knew probably within 3 games of that Saturday that we were going to make a big run for it just by the way it was working. And then JJ was the other guy that started it with Coach Sean. He's a defensive coach. And me and him kind of got the same personality, real laid back. And he had the defense going and we just bounced off each other. And that was it. Now we got the big trophy. So that was cool. And we look forward to Florida and see if we can bring the magic again.
Most definitely. And I was thoroughly impressed with DJ Bailey. Just to talk about him, because he's a quarterback first and he had the ball in his hands every play. His poise, he seemed to understand the moment, like you said. wasn't afraid to take shots when he did. He came out the championship game, hit him right in the face, right from the jump, and I thought that showed a lot of swag for a freshman. He seems to be very comfortable, plays the game, like he's been on a varsity starter for a couple of years. And the biggest thing I can say is he knew when to take the 4 seconds, go to another play. You can't, sometimes kids want to force the ball in there. They want to make the big play and they end up throwing an interception, a turnover, or, a drive stops. And that leads into Friday nights where he can just take off and run and get the first down as well. He seems to be so calm with that. His footwork was superb, his accuracy on throws, and he just seemed to trust everything that you guys had going on.
Yeah, and that's the thing about DJ. His athleticism is so over the top that you wouldn't even know. Like, he's not a running quarterback, but he can line up and probably play running back for any school you wanted to because he's built like it. He's thick, he's fast, he's athletic. His arm is stupid strong. I mean, that kid can thread a needle with his arm, And I think that when you got a kid like that, you have to learn to poise, because a kid that has an arm like that, he'll take those risks and throw those balls because his arm is so strong. So one of the things that we talk to him about is just being smart and not, living for the next play. Even with the deep ball, he could throw a deep ball every play if he wanted to, So that was kind of the thing coming into the game. I said, hey, let's take a couple shots because all the kids like deep ball, but let's be smart. We're gonna work our way down the field and we're gonna throw a deep ball when we need to and when we see it. And it just, like I said, it just worked out. It wasn't the plan to go deep, 2 or 3 times in a row during that championship game. It was just there for him, and he was smart enough and poised enough to know when to do it and know when not to do it. And like I said, with a kid with his kind of talent, that intelligence is what's going to really take him to the next level, because sometimes kids with talent don't have the intelligence, and sometimes kids with the intelligence don't have the talent. But this kid actually got both, and he's a freshman. He's 14, 15 years old, and he didn't even learn how to play football yet, So the sky's the limit for him, and it was, it was an honor, and that was a blessing to just even to be there for him and to coach him, because whatever coach end up with him, and he's gonna write an extra check for that coach, because that coach is going to get to ride a wave that he had nothing to do with, because that kid is just super talented, man. But no, he's a good kid, and I can't wait to see him get coached up and get with a program that knows what he's doing, and get with the type of talent that he can have around him at DeSoto. And I can only imagine what's going to happen with that kid in the next 4 years. It's going to be fun to watch.
Most definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. Was thoroughly impressed by DJ Bailey's performance. He's definitely on his way. He's got eyes on him now if he didn't have him before. And he's definitely on the 7-on-7 circuit this spring. He's picked up lots and lots of more eyes on him. Now let's talk about some of the other guys that took care of business that weekend as well on the offensive side. Your receivers caught everything. Talk about a couple of those guys.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to remember all the real names. I know all the nicknames, but Chris was a great receiver. He's a speed guy. Sometimes you look at the size, he's a little undersized for a receiver, but knowing how to get to the ball, knowing where he's supposed to be at, knowing how to get there, that takes away everything. He's a super, super fast, super, super coachable, very talented, kid. Then we had a twin. I call him Twin. He's one of the kids that he's my, I can say favorite. We shouldn't have a favorite team coach, a kid, but he's one of my kids that he's just so easy to coach. Throughout the game, he's probably one of our better receivers. And throughout the weekend, especially on that Saturday, he wasn't getting the touches that we both felt like he deserved. And it wasn't anything against the quarterback or anything else. It was just how the game flowed. And not at one point he pouted about it. And I actually said something to him about it. I actually said, hey, I know you're trying to get the ball. He said, Coach, but I ain't going to do nothing. I'll just keep running my route. He'll see me. And sure enough, he did, and he got his touches or whatever. He's a great, great kid. We got Hicks. That's a good, Hicks is Hicks. He's a super fast kid. Then we had Jordan from Garland. I don't know if you've seen him. That was the number one. He made some spectacular catches. I didn't know, like, a lot of these kids from Mesquite, so I don't know them as well as I know my other kids. I'm just kind of helping out. And so with Jordan, I think he got a couple of offers from some big schools, and he's a decent sized kid. And it's funny because I was having a conversation, and it wasn't a negative conversation. I was having a conversation with one of the coaches, and I was like, man, he got all these offers, man. I said, man, what is he doing? And the coach was like, I don't know. I said, he's fast and he's good and stuff, but he didn't really jump out as far as the eye test. And then he climbed up and made this catch, dude, and it's unreal. I saved a picture on my phone. I mean, this dude climbed up and caught a ball one hand, and it wasn't a one hand like most kids kind of lay it in there. I mean, it was a zero. It stopped, and it hit his hand, and it was done. And I said, oh, that's why he's D1. That's why he's D1. So he got good kids. We had Randy Reese that was just explosive speed, good leadership. That 60 we ran out there with, or that 7 we ran out there with, even Daddy-O, he was a running back with Lynch, and he's a good kid. During the championship game, his role kind of changed a little bit, but he's a good kid too. So I mean, that group that you've seen out there, they're in Mesquite Horn, Bishop Lynch, Garland, Sock, and I think one other school. All those schools are going to benefit from those kids because those kids will be on the field Friday night, and it's just special to know that they're sophomores and freshmen. So imagine what's going to happen with those kids. So it was fun.
Most definitely. And I think that's what tournaments like the Championship 77 TruXposur bring to the table. Now, being a high school coach, give me a little insight from your vantage point, how this 7-on-7 tournaments and the exposure that these kids get benefits. You just mentioned they'll be ready to go back to their high school programs. How does that help them to get ready to go back and, give these coaches that they see, for a little bit in the spring and then in the summer? How does that help them go back to be, next level talent when they go back to their high schools?
For me, it's about, the reps. The way we came up, the way, I'm 40, so I'm a little older, than you guys. But the way we came up, in the off season, it was just lifting, speed, agility. To be able to still run routes, catch balls, compete, do all those things in the spring and do it at the amount of time that they do it in, it's a good thing. I think it should be a balance of it, of course, but to have, 4 or 5 tournaments during the spring and get to play and catch the ball, run routes, be competitive, play 5-star kids, play 6-star kids, especially like for my little school, Newman, we're a 3A Division II team tops, so we're never going to see the Duncanvilles and the Desotos and all that. I wouldn't even put our kids in that situation. But for 7-on-7, they get to run against those guys. They get to play against those guys. When it comes from the scouting perspective, different things, now you get to go against those guys that are getting those D1 offers and those, 4 stars. So it's an opportunity just to compete, to stay in the competition, to keep that, when you're an athlete, you can't turn that stuff off. I'm 40 and I still competitive. I'm competitive at work. I want to do my job better than everybody else, not because of nothing, just, hey, we're going to put our grades faster than you. It's just, that's just in us. And so for those kids to have that opportunity and that outlet to continue to compete, get those good reps in, I think it's a great thing. I mean, everything comes with, good and bad, but for me, 7-on-7, the goods are definitely just an opportunity to throw the ball around, compete, and see some different schemes and just keep playing. That's key to the game, keep playing.
Most definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. I think that sometimes, for people that are not around enough or not really deep into 7-on-7, it gets a bad rep that's, is taking kids away. But I believe that, coaches like yourself and most coaches work well with these organizations and the coaches to balance it out. Now, most kids, when, right now we're in the middle of about to start spring football, they're not going to be with the 7-on-7 team. They're going to go with the school first. And then when they're not in a school function or have a school activity, then they'll be with the new breeds. And when they get that rep, they get that exposure and they get that, camaraderie and keeps them in shape and also keeps kids busy. We see a lot of things going on here, especially in the DFW area. We've lost a few young men here in the spring. But all of those young men had something in common. They were, heavily involved with the school, heavily involved with 7-on-7, and those kind of things that, we need that in our communities today. Yeah. Now, before we get out of here, what's the mindset of the team heading into Tampa this weekend? You guys have automatic bid to the national championship. Talk about the mindset and what you guys have been talking about this week heading into Tampa.
The mindset is the same as it's always been. You just play. Got a little practice. We're going to practice a little bit today, but nothing really changes as far as how you prepare. You just play. Those are kids, and we're kids. So we already proved to ourselves that we belong. I mean, we've won 3 or 4 tournaments in the circuit. We qualified for this when they played in the circuit last year. So they already know that they belong there. So now it's just a matter of, how we can adjust, and play and have fun and get out there and see what happens when it happens. That's really just the goal, is just to not come in with any kind of expectations other than the first game on your schedule. That's the expectation. Win that first game, and then we'll figure out the rest of the next game.
Most definitely. Definitely look forward, Coach Miller, to seeing you guys down in Tampa, Florida. I'll be there along with TruXposur in Championship 77. And I am Mark Henry here on the On Your Mark Show. We'll take a quick break here on 105.4 RPWP, thepulseradio.com. And also check out the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel. Click, like, and subscribe. We'll be right back.
All right, thanks a lot.